I'm Krishna. I'm having 10 years of industrial experience working for a global MNCs.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Again, Krishna here. Just let me know if you guys are able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay, good. You able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay. So I have a little bad shot today. Okay, I'll be talking little low. If you see there is anywhere you are not able to hear me properly, just do let me know. Okay.
Hey, hi
And
Krishna. Good morning.
good morning. So let me know if you guys are not able to hear me properly. Okay. And then we'll start today's session. Okay. So let me go. Yesterday we thought
One
of
more thing, Krishna. Sorry for disturbing. Could you
go
please open our main screen?
past.
First page, like our website page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tomorrow we will release this interview with AI also. Maybe you can explain tomorrow. I just down the server today. So you have idea, right? You prepared everything. You are on the part, right? To deploy. Yeah. So yesterday we down the server to just make some more changes. But anyway, in tomorrow's session, maybe you can walk through with them.
Yeah, I'll give a glance about it.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah.
Thank you.
So guys, we have as a KSR Data Vision, we have created a product to help the students and the people who are going for an interview. Okay. So this particular link will take you to that product. Okay. I'll explain that a bit of glance about it, saying that what exactly this product, how it is going to help you. Okay. So I'll discuss more about it by end of this call or probably tomorrow morning. Okay, so yeah, let me quickly jump on to today's topic. Did I started recording? Okay, good. Yeah, so let's quickly go through the recap what we have discussed. So can someone starts with recap? What we have discussed yesterday?
Snowflake editions.
Okay, Snowflake editions we have discussed. Okay, what else we discussed?
Separate compute storage.
Sorry, what is that?
Separate compute and storage.
Okay, separate compute and storage is going to provide by Snowflake. Okay, what else? What else we discussed? How the data will get loaded inside a storage layer. At the final layer, how the data will get stored. Columnarized, format, and compressed and encrypted all the time. Okay, yeah. So what else we discussed? Partitions. Yeah, so clusterings we have discussed, right? How the data get partitioned, how it will be useful to us. Okay, partitions are clustering also we have discussed. What else we discussed? Okay, what are the types of Snowflake editions are there, and what is editions over here?
You can call them as licenses.
You can call it as a license, as very generic term, right? So license can be anything.
Set of functions that Snowflake provides.
Set of features. Snowflake provides everything. All editions is going to be provided by Snowflake only, right? So let's call it a set of features. Okay, set of features will be defined for each edition. Okay, so what is the benefit out of it?
It's easy to choose based on the business requirement.
Yeah, right. So whenever there are business requirements, right? So business requirements can be different ways. Some companies might use it only few features. Some companies will use it other features. Some companies needs the full features. Some companies needs a private network features. Okay, based on that they can able to go it because the cost varies for the each edition to edition here. Okay, so based on the business requirements, you can choose the edition. So based on the editions you are choosing, your cost will be defined on top. What are the editions we have it?
Standard edition.
Standard.
Enterprise edition.
Enterprise.
Critical business.
Okay. Business critical.
Matrix edition.
There is a one very important one is there.
Yeah, virtual private.
Yeah, virtual private network, right? So we have Snowflake, okay, private network also there. Okay, and there is a matrix also, so no one uses it. A lot of people doesn't know what exactly matrix is. Also there is nothing. No companies has chosen it. They have something like this. We also don't know what are the features they are going to provide it. Okay, so they say that is called as a last one. It's a matrix, but we don't know what exactly the features they are going to provide. Okay, so now standard, if the standard have a features, that features will be covered as part of the enterprise, plus you will be getting an additional features. Okay, in similar fashion for each layer there will be an additional features will be there. As your company thinks that that feature is required for us, they will be choosing that particular edition. Okay, based on those editions the cost will be applicable. Okay, what is the benefit out of the separate compute and storage?
We have the flexibility to choose either it is a compute or storage or on both.
Okay, So flexible to scale the, either you want a compute, okay? Compute is nothing but either it is a servers or a clusters or whatever it could be, okay? Or a storage. So where you want to need a space, where you want to need a compute servers, you can choose it as your wish, okay? So it's not mandatory that all the time you have to tag it coupled, tightly coupled. So you can have it as per the requirements or as per the flow you are going to execute your requirements, okay? So what is the benefit of the columnarized format?
For for saving the storage and faster execution, faster results.
Storage anyway, it's a compressed. Okay. So compressed is going to compress your data all the time. Okay. Encrypt is going to be encrypted to make it as a security and governance issues. Okay. And columnarized format, let me quickly take. Okay. Speed of retrieval, right? So columnarized format will be helpful for you retrieving the data in a faster way. Okay. So it will be helpful for you to retrieving the data in a faster way because the columns will be spreaded across. Every column will have a location. When the particular query being executed, what happens is optimizer, right? Who will prepare the explain plan for us? Okay, optimizer will prepare a plan. Okay, whatever the query you are going to execute, right? That query will be optimizer will be creating a plan for it. So that optimizer plan, what happens is they will have all the locations where exactly your data is resided for in each column you are selecting in your select query. So that it won't go and scan the whole table. It will go to only those particular columns and you're retrieving the data is going to be very fast. Okay, so partitions and clustering. So we discussed about data will be partitioned. So in Snowflake, we call it as a micro partitions. Okay, so let's call it as an MP. And then also we will be learning about, there is a clustering concept in Snowflake. We will be learning this clustering concept, benefits of this clustering concepts, benefits and disadvantages of this clustering concepts, and when exactly you have to use this clustering also we will be learning. Okay, for now I'll park this one, we will learn it. Okay, so anything else we have discussed? I guess nothing, right? So anybody have any questions till now? We have a columnar data in Teradata and Greenplum for a long time. How is Snowflake unique? Yeah, Karthik, Teradata was there. Greenplum is something which came in 2018-19. Before the Teradata was there. Yes, Teradata had a columnar data. The similar thing being used by a different other, I don't say Snowflake is invented that wheel. That wheel was invented in on-premises only, some on-premises. Okay, and then the same thing being used and implemented across this cloud. Okay, if you say AWS Redshift or AWS RDS is using the same kind of columnarized data, it doesn't mean they have found out that particular logic. It's there, but they made the databases designed that way to provide in a faster retrieval of the data. Okay, logic is same. If you know Greenplum, how it works, columnarized. So there are only two fashions, right? One is a row format saving, or row format storage, or columnarized format. There is nothing else. There is nothing else to be stored. Okay, so row form, we all know what are the disadvantages. Yesterday we discussed it will scan the whole row and they cut down what are the columns you needed, which is going to be a time-taking process. The other one is a columnarized way. So we have seen a better performance with this one. So everyone has started implementing with it. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. So if no questions, let's discuss about few things today. So agenda, right? Yesterday we thought of discussing this too. We'll start with this. Okay. And then what we will see is we will go through a PPT, how the ETL works, ETL or ELT works, right? How Snowflake replaced a data lake. Yesterday someone was asking, right, how data lake has replaced and it can able to adopt any data, right? What are all the things in on-premise can be replaced by using in a single Snowflake? Okay, so that we will discuss here. And then today we will discuss about Snowflake UI also, which is called Snowsite. Okay, we'll go through the Snowsite UI. And finally, we'll talk about marketplace also today, because using this marketplace, we are going to read the data and we will be performing all the activities in a Snowflake. Okay, so in a marketplace, we will be looking at both the provider and consumer perspective. Okay, so let's consumer. Okay, fine. Yeah. So now this metadata storage, right? So where exactly the data gets stored? Should I enable my Snowflake account now? It's no, Karthik, just hang on. I'll tell you that. Okay. Yeah. So what we'll do is, first one is, what is metadata storage, right? What is metadata? I think we discussed SQL guys. We discussed when we were learning SQL also, right?
It's a data about data, like
okay. So
the stats, those
data
details.
about a data. Okay, you can say it is a stats of the objects objects or anything. It could be anything, whatever you created on a databases. Okay. So what else you can call it? Anything? And anybody wants to elaborate this?
Where all the artifacts like tables, views, and
Artifacts,
stored blocks are stored.
tables. Okay. So it's not a tables. You can call it a table information. Okay, table information, but it doesn't mean an actual data. We are not talking about a customer data here. We are talking about how many tables are there, how many views are there, how many stored processes are there. Okay, for a session. Okay, is there any parameters being set up? Okay, if you see here, we have, when we are learning TCLs, right, transaction control layers, there we have added some parameter setup, right? Auto grant is equals to off, auto grant is equals to true, and set rollback is equals to something, save point we have been doing. Okay, setting, we are using the set parameter over there, right? So these are parameter setting up. Okay, this parameter setup also is a metadata. It's not an actual data, right? It's a metadata. You're setting up that particular session, how to run it. You're taking a decision. Okay, like that there could be many other things. Okay, it's about what you are going to create on the particular database. Okay, it's not about the actual data. We are not talking about any customer information, bank information, or nothing over here. We are talking about how the database is being designed, what are all the things are available in your database. Okay, so what else, any other definitions you can think of? Master data. So yeah, master data, you can say master data. For what reason this data will help you? What kind of analytics or work you can do with this metadata?
To identify something if something goes wrong.
Very good. So investigation purpose in case of anything went wrong. What else?
Can check how database is working.
Check how the database is
Yeah, working.
working. Working. So let's call it as an execution. Okay, execution of the queries. Okay, very good. So now I want to understand how much time my query is got executed. Okay, what data the query got fetched is a different word. That's not in a metadata. That's an actually data. Now I'm thinking about how much time my query got executed. I'm just looking about how much time the query has taken to run in with this particular warehouse or something. That's a metadata for me. Okay, so I won't write any logic for that. Okay, so say that calculate time, how much time this query is running. I don't write a logic. All I do is my business scenario is I will write a query and I'll execute it. So while I'm working on that, okay, while I'm working on that, executing that query, Snowflake listens that query, what you are doing, and captures the metadata for you. Okay, so you don't need to do anything. Everything will be captured by a Snowflake. Okay, so what else? Quality, governance, profiling. Yeah, so governance probably won't come. So governance also can be say, yeah, so governance, right? Quality of the data, governance, saying that if there are any sensitive data is there, you have applied any kind of masking policies on top of it. So it says that someone should not be experienced. So what kind of connections is being done, who are all accessing it, who are all users which is accessing what kind of data they're accessing. Okay, so profiling, also profiling is nothing but at particular point in time in a day how many queries are being executing. Okay, which team is executing more queries, how much time, how much money is being generated by, how much billing is being generated by each company, sorry, each department in our company. So you can do all these kind of investigations with your metadata. Your metadata is going to be a very much helpful for us. Okay, so now this metadata, right? So where exactly this metadata can store? Yeah, we have a metadata manager, so automatically it will be maintained by a Snowflake. I'll show that, Karthik. So where you can think this is also some kind of data. It's a data about a data we're calling. It's also some kind of data only. There will be a numbers, there will be a string values, there will be something like that. Okay, where exactly this data can store? Where actually the data will get stored, not only metadata, where actually the data will get stored in the 3 layers.
The storage.
Okay, the actual data will load in a third layer, that's a storage layer. Okay, so now, so as per cloud, is a Snowflake having any storage or a compute resources?
No.
Okay,
No.
so then where exactly it stores the data?
Again, it's going.
Changing the data.
It stores in the cloud.
It stores in a cloud. Okay, so it stores in a cloud. The answer to this is it stores in a cloud. Okay, so where exactly now your metadata is stored? So your actual data is going to store in a storage layer. that you have set, it's going to store in a cloud. It could be in AWS, GCP, or in Azure, which you are choose at the time of creating your account. Okay. So now I would say where your metadata is going to be stored.
In same place only.
Okay. In cloud only.
Cloud.
Yeah.
So yeah. So most of the ways it's correct. It's a cloud. Okay. So this metadata storage, right? Two things we need to remember. Okay. So one is when some locations, right? So some locations, example, I would say Australia, okay, US, and there is one more reasons. So what happened is Snowflake by itself have a storage units. Okay. Snowflake by itself has a Snowflake units. By theory, by a book, we need to know this is how this works. Okay. Cloud, major of the areas, it is a cloud. Okay. They store their metadata also onto in a cloud. Okay. The cloud which you have chosen. The cloud you have choose two things. One thing, right? One thing is in some countries, okay, Snowflake have their own data centers. Okay. So like in Australia, in US, some states, and in I said right in Europe also, some countries having Snowflake have their own data centers. What they do is this metadata, right? They will store it in their data centers. They will not rely on any kind of this guys. Okay. So by theory, I'm saying whenever someone asks you, you have to say it is in a cloud only. Either metadata is also going to be in a cloud only. That's a decent answer. Okay. So if anybody wants to stress you that if you have no lot of knowledge on this one, so if they want to ask you, do you know that Snowflake maintains a data centers? Okay. So you can say yes, they maintain a data centers, but that's not in a widely used. Okay. It's internally manages by a Snowflake. Okay. They maintain this metadata in a cloud, their own data centers. Okay. So but by theory, by a book, this is something they will be talking about, but not an interview prospective. They will not ask people who are being known that how Snowflake works, how Snowflake evaluated from in 2014 to now. They know this how it has been done. Okay. Second thing, right? In private cloud, right? Yesterday we were being sorry, no, private editions. Sorry, private edition. Okay. In this private edition, whenever they go for the private editions, if they are nearby, if they are into their own countries, right? Majorly Snowflake will maintain this all data. Okay, they will not rely on any kind of cloud here. Okay, so private edition, when they go, you will be getting a dedicated metadata. Okay, dedicated metadata information. You will get an option called as a dedicated metadata. Okay, it will not club with any servers which are available in by any cloud services like that. What they do is they will reserve this. Okay, they will reserve this. So or they will reserve within a cloud, or what they do is they maintain by themselves in their own data centers, because it's a private network, because they are not relying, because they have to provide a great business business value over here to the customers. They take the decision of maintaining on their own servers and serve the customers. Okay, so these two areas they will be using their metadata, their own data centers. Okay, don't get confused, as they have their own data centers, why can't they use instead of a different clouds, why they can't use the data centers? They don't have that capacity. Okay, so what AWS, this public clouds are doing, Snowflake doesn't have their capacity that much. They have a small data centers wherever, only for some companies they maintain their own data centers. Okay, so Snowflake by itself cannot able, throughout the world they cannot able to do it. Okay, just keep this in mind. I don't say very important it. Okay, so but knowing this is a very good information when you are going for any debates in a interviews, saying that why can't they maintain it, why if they maintain it what happens, if they are maintaining what kind of data they store it. Okay, so if they maintain the data centers they are maintaining, right? Actual data, they never go and store it in their data centers. Actual data will be always on the public clouds. Only metadata they will say is no store it in their data centers. Okay. How it will be communicated between actual data to metadata is something, an algorithm they have written. Okay. The software is being designed in that. Okay. So now going to this is our system profile. That's fine. So next one is how data will store in a cloud, right? So now I'm saying actually all your data is going to be stored in a cloud we have discussed. Okay. So someone was saying yesterday how data lake works with the Snowflake. Okay. So what actually happens is whatever data you are going to store, okay, whatever data you are going to store in Snowflake, okay, what think that theoretically a Snowflake stores the data means backend it is going to store the data in this particular clouds in cloud buckets. Okay, it could be S3, it could be GCS, or it could be blob storage. Okay, so if anybody have a cloud knowledge already, all these buckets, or you could say storage units providing by any Google Clouds, these are all data lake. You can load any kind of data over here. Okay, you can load a videos, you can load a audio, you can load a files, you can load anything. Okay, so what Snowflake does is, end of the day, whatever the data you load it will try to save the data in this particular locations. Okay, Snowflake by itself will be able to provide the, create the locations in this storage unit and start storing your data in that. Okay, so as you all know, S3 is a very cheaper. Okay, anything you store on S3 is going to be less than $1 for a probably 5 GB or 10 GB for a month or something like that. Okay, GCS is also cheaper. So S3 is first cheaper place, second one is GCP, and third one is a blob storage. Okay, blob storage is little costlier than comparing to GCS and S3. Okay, so what happen is they will store all the data in this particular locations based on the account you have chosen. Okay, so think in a way, end of the day, whatever the data you are going to load is finally routing to this particular cloud services layer buckets. Okay, and then storing it as in a files over there. Okay, you don't see it, you cannot query it, you don't see it, because once you choose this one account in while you're creating an additions, okay, while you're creating an account, you won't be having any access to login into these accounts. Okay, but backend what happens is it stores as a files in your this particular cloud buckets. Cloud buckets are going to be cheaper. That's the reason Snowflake optimizes this storage, and what happens is they will able to provide you a within cheaper cost comparing to the other tools. Okay, so does it make sense, this one and this one?
Yes.
So yeah, so my data lake is something, but there is no shape. So examples things that, so now I'll write to you something. Okay, just tell me. So now I'll say one Soumya, okay, 100 rupees, and I'll say next one is two, okay, two Krishna, 101, and three Karthik, okay, 102. Okay, so now I say this ID, name, and it's a cost you paid. Okay, so if I share this data to you, do I need to explain anything to you, or is it a self-explanatory?
Self-explanatory.
So now this data, right, I'll put it like this. Okay, so what I'll do is so something I have given like this. There is no format. Think that there is a more like this. Okay, or else let's put it as a Soumya plus like. Okay, so let's put it the same way. Okay, so now this data is there. Okay, I said that this contains a ID, name, and cost. Okay, so this is easy for you to understand, or this is easy for you to understand?
The first one.
The first set is easy to you understand, right? So there are what happens is whenever there is a data generates nowadays, right? Example, you say webcam data. Okay, so your webcam is generating a data for every second. Okay, so it will be in a video format. Okay, so what happens is this data, when it converts in a backend, it will not be in a structured way. Okay, the data will be in a fully unstructured way. Now example, you have a picture. Okay, you have a photo and you have to save this photo. What happens when you convert this photo will change it as in a binary numbers in a backend. Okay, or it could be in a different structure. So data lake is something that which can able to adopt. Okay, so now do you able to load this kind of data in your tables MySQL when we learned MySQL, right? So now can I load this data like this for both name and cost in MySQL? I can't load this. Always I have to go like in a structured way. Okay, so when a data lakes means, what data lake means, you can able to load any kind of data. Okay, it could be in a photos, it could be an audio, it could be semi-structured data, it could be unstructured data, it could be structured data. The data shape could be any way. Okay, you just land it. So where you can able to land that kind of information, that place is called as a data lake. It's a lake, it can able to adopt any kind of data. Okay, so it could be a different fashions, data could be in a different fashions. So when you comes to your format, it could be in a Parquet data. Okay, it could be in an Avro data. Okay, it could be in a JSON data. So there are many other datas like this. Okay, so which area, which place can able to adopt any kind of data you are going to land it. Okay, which can adopt that, that's called as in a data lake. Okay, this is called as in a structured data, which is a data warehouse. Data warehouses, when you go for a data warehouses or databases, what happens is mostly you will be always going to talk about a structured data. Okay, when you are going with a data lake, you can able to land any kind of, they don't think about the structure, whatever the raw data is getting generated. Okay, pick that raw data and land it over there. Okay, so in this course, I think last time we've been discussing this. Okay, I create an account with this.
So does it mean that we can have data in the cloud services like AWS in the unstructured format? Does it mean that's called data lake as well?
Exactly. So place where you are going to have all kinds of information, all types of information is called as in a data lake.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So just to give you another point over here, right? So storing, right? So what happens is, let me put like this: data warehouse and data lake. Okay. Storage, right? What happens here? Here it is processing cost will be there. Okay. Here the processing cost will be less. Okay. Here the processing cost will be more. Here the storage cost is more. Here the storage cost is less. Okay. So let me explain this. What happens is, right? So when anybody asks you, this is a very important point to understand, okay, how the data get loads. Okay. So what happens is data lake, right? So data lake, what we are saying, so some kind of random data which is coming and we want to store it. Question is why we want to store this random data? Okay. How this is going to be used? When actually data lake to be used? Data from, sorry, I'll take up these questions and quickly I'll go there. Okay. So Krishna, if I back up my metadata, can I restore the same as a new system? So there is no backing up. Snowflake will maintain that. So there is nothing, you won't be having any access to it. Okay. Example, I create an account AC1 and after license expires, I back up the metadata of AC1. I create a new account AC2 and imports this. There will be no, this will not work, Karthik. So it is account specific metadata. Okay. Data from different clouds together is called different clouds is called not a data lake. No, data from a different lakes. So this different clouds is different. Different clouds is just a cloud. Every cloud is a data lake. Okay. Every cloud is a data lake. Okay. Though local import, not a data lake. No, Karthik, I didn't get your question actually. Though a local import, not. I'll take up this question. Okay. Let me complete this. I'll take up that question. Okay. So yeah. Coming up this random data, right? So when exactly you have to use a data lake, for what purposes the data lakes will be used? Anybody can guess. So I'm saying that whatever the data comes in, I want to store it. So for that reason, your data lake is going to help you. Why you want to store whatever the data is existing?
See, before transformation, we can load our raw data, then future we can transform.
Yeah, so it's a raw data, right?
Yeah.
What is the business benefit? You already mentioned that.
For analytics.
For analytics, future analytics.
Future.
Okay. Companies are interested, right? Companies are interested not losing any inch of a data. Okay. What they say is if there is a data got generated, what you do is bring the data, whatever it is. It could be video, audio, structured, unstructured, whatever it is. Bring the data and dump it at some place. Okay. That dumping place called as a data lake. Okay, which will be a raw data. That means there won't be any shape to it. I have at least given some shape to it here. Usually there won't be any shape to it. Okay, which is called unstructured data. So what happens is you just bring this data and keep it here. In future, what we will do is we will take this data and we'll start doing an analytics on top of it. It helps us to investigate what happened in the past. Okay, so then what they do is they will take this data and they will process it. Okay, they will write the logics for this one. Okay, they will write the logics for me. They will convert like this. This is something is being easily understandable by everyone, including your reporting people. Okay, so it will be raw data will be coming like this. Okay, this is called raw data. After raw data, they will process it. So this is called processed data. Okay, processed data will give you a meaning. Raw data will not give any meaning for you. Okay, this we have discussed before also, right? So unless you're not going to process, you're not going to implement your business tools, it's not going to help you anyway. Okay, so data lake is majorly for a raw. So what purposes data lakes will be used is if you want to dump the data, okay, before processing and you want to store it for a long time over there. Okay, in that cases, you can use your data lakes. What will happen is now the data is unstructured here. If you want to change this unstructured data into a structured data, you have to write some logics over here. Okay, first is write a logic. Okay, for this you have to hire a people, you have to hire this one, you have to spend money over there. Okay, second one is to run the queries, you have to supply a compute which is called as a servers. Okay, so these two are going to cost you, right? These two are going to cost you. If you store the data at a data lake, after that, if you want to process the data, it will be costing you like this. Okay, Storage, what happens? Storage, right? So as is the data comes in, we are just dumping the data and compressing that files. Data lake files will be always compressed. Okay. So I'll show you that once we land the files into our stages, there is a stages concept in a Snowflake, right? Automatic, the files will get zipped, compressed. Okay. The files will be compressed. So your storage cost is going to be less. Okay. If anybody asks you about a data lake is nothing but it can able to adopt any type of a data. Okay. Processing a data from data lake to convert into in a structured format or meaningful format, which is going to be cost you because you have to process the data, and for processing you need a compute resources that is going to be a cost you. Okay. Next one is storage is going to be less because we are going to store as is whatever the data is appearing and we are compressing the files. This is the behavior of your data lakes. Okay, so what is the use case of this one is if a company thinks that I want to dump the data for now and I want to use this data later for a or analytical purpose. Okay, so coming to the data warehouse. Okay, so what data warehouses will be used is when you are loading a data into a data warehouses. Okay, that means majorly you are going to do it as in a structured format because your reportings or something analytics are already is going to execute on top of it. Okay, that means the data is already structured. Okay, data is structured like this. Okay, data is already structured for you. Then what is happening is your storage cost is going to be more. Okay, because each column, each row, each column, and it has to store and everything, which will be more than what you are seeing over here. Okay, though here also it is a compressed way. So here it is in a single file. There is no processing happened, nothing. So what happens is here it will be storing, right? So here it is a simple file, and file is going to have a metadata saying that, okay, this file name is available in this bucket or in this particular place. But here what happens is storage has a table, right? So you see here, now this ID has a metadata, this name has a metadata, this cost has a metadata. Okay, how many columns are there, how many rows are there, like that you have a lot of metadata to be created for it, and the table storage also to be created for it. Okay, the storage cost is going to be more. Okay, here the processing cost is less because the data is already in structured way. There is nothing you need to bring it up into in a different structure again. All you need to do is you will be writing an aggregation logics. So the aggregation logics, what we understand in a MySQL, right? So what we have done, if you want to get some values, aggregated values to take the decisions, business always takes a decision after an aggregated view. It's not like individual person they will be doing a business. They will be understanding the whole business of a particular customer base, and then they will be deciding that whether they need to go with the products or the services, right? So as the data is already structured, you don't need to put this processing cost. Logic is no, you don't need to write a logics. You don't need to write you don't need a servers to run the queries because it is already structured. Okay, so your processing cost is going to be less, but your storage cost is going to be more. Okay, so anybody, if there's someone ask you about a data warehouse or a data lake, you can add these points. Okay, in data warehouses, always it's going to be in a structured data. Maximum it is going to be in a structured data. If you ask me, Krishna, can't we load in an unstructured data? You can load in unstructured data. Okay, that backs to this particular point again. Okay, so even we do have that kind of exercise. So we will be dealing with the Parquet data and JSON data. So there we will be learning about unstructured data. So how we are going to parse that information. So we will learn that. Okay. So anybody have questions on this? Soumya, did you able to get it? What I'm talking here?
Yes.
About a Snowflake metadata, where is the stage in Snowflake? Please explain. So Karthik, the stages will come at. Okay, there is a separate session for it. We will discuss that. So the data warehouse is always stored the data in structured way only. So yeah, Kanna. So 99% data warehouses, when we are doing it, you should go within a structured data. That's the meaning of a data warehouse. But if you ask me, can't we load the data, unstructured data there? You can load it. In Snowflake also, there are some columns called as variant columns. So data types, so you can use that, and you can store the unstructured data. It doesn't make any sense, but anyway, what will happen is if you store the data like that, again you have to spend this money for that. Okay, but as a theoretical, if someone asks you saying that data lake is for all structures of a data, so data warehouse is for a structured data. Okay, you can say that.
Thank you.
So during the data migration, all is data lake majorly used just to push the data and
migrations, right? So usually what is migrations happens is it will happen from an on-premises to cloud, right? That is like an Oracle to Snowflake. Okay, just giving an example. Okay, think that Oracle to Snowflake. Okay, so Oracle is already structured data. Okay, and the same structured data you will be moving into your Snowflake. Usually when migrations happening, so always it will be in a structured data, but there could be cases. Okay, but there could be cases. So example, I would say, if I say people who wants to move from an Hadoop to Snowflake, okay, very high level positive. So possible there is an unstructured data here. Okay, it's from where they are migrating it. So either the migration source is structured or unstructured, they have to decide. Okay, so majorly the migration happens from structure to structure, but there is a possibility. There are possibilities. There are projects being executed like this also. We have moved it from an Hive from Hive databases to Snowflake. Also, we moved in the past. Okay, does that make sense? Sorry, is that make sense, Soumya?
Okay, so it depends.
Sorry, Soumya, you're breaking.
Sorry, so it depends on the project you said, like
It depends on the project from where they want to migrate it, right? Either they want to migrate it from a structured data warehouse or they want to migrate it from its unstructured databases. Okay, so Snowflake can able to handle both. Okay, so we don't need to worry about it. So what you are migrating is up to you. Okay, so Kanna, can I transfer the data from MongoDB to Snowflake? So from anywhere you can migrate it. Okay, so what we need to do is while you're migrating, you need some communicator in between. Okay, when you want to load something to your Snowflake, you need something here as a communicator. Okay, so communicator needed to inject the data into a Snowflake. Okay, examples we have been discussing, right?
Python, something like that.
Yeah, Python is something we choose it.
Okay.
For our purpose, because we are learning a Python programming, we choose a Python to do as a communicator. Okay, so companies, they can choose anything. Okay, they can choose Informatica. Okay, they can choose ab initio. Okay, they can choose third party tools like a Fivetran. Okay, a Metallion. Okay, Hevo. Okay, there are many like this. Okay, there are data stages there. So you can use this all you need to buy a license again. Okay, and you have to do it here. Okay, or I would say you what you can do is use a Python. It's up to you how you want to go it. It's a how company is rich enough to take this all kind of tools. Okay, so now if you go with a license with Informatica, they say we give all these ones. In Informatica also IICS is there, right? Informatica Cloud Services is there. Okay, so you can use Informatica Cloud Services, Ab initio Cloud Services are there, so you can choose anything. So if we are going to learn Python, what Python will do is Python will connect to your MongoDB, okay, and it will be running that query and fetching the information from your tables, okay, and putting the files into our AWS location or an external stages. From there, Snowflake automatically identifies the file is there and it loads the data for us. Okay, we will do this project. Okay, I will be walking through one project and I will be giving one more project as a homework. Okay, so we will be doing this. Make sense, Kanna?
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So,
Krishna, I have one thing. So can we say like, so if ETL is for data warehouse and ELT is for data lake,
no, you
it's
can't.
always like that, or
No, not mandate, not mandate. ELT is nothing but see again that question, right? So let me explain what is ELT and what is ETL, right? So I think I got a chance explaining this in last class, or I mean somewhere in the class. So what happens here? It is right. So ELT, right? So what is the ELT? Extract, right? Extract,
Transform load.
Extract, load, transform.
right? Yeah, similar fashion. That is also similar, different. Okay, just extract, transform. So what happened? Just think that, okay. So now you got a project saying that I want to move a data from Oracle to Snowflake. Okay. So from where your extract will happen? Extracts happens from an Oracle. So example, I'm just using an Informatica in between. Okay. So what is your Informatica does? It does the first E from an Oracle. Okay. It transforms and loads. Okay. So Oracle is server one. Oracle have its own server, right? Informatica will be also landed on your Unix servers or Linux servers, server 2. Okay. Snowflake is again a different server. Okay. Server 3. Okay. Now just think in a way. Okay. So now I would be saying similar way on a server 1, your extraction happened. It has taken. First thing what happens is Informatica has to make a connection with an Oracle, open the server, okay, and start extracting the data. Okay. Opening server, opening connection with Oracle. Okay. Opening connection with an Oracle and continuing that connection means keeping alive. This is very, very important. We will learn about when Snowflake, right? In Snowflake, I'll just quickly go and show that. Right. So let me quickly open any one share. Okay. So Very important interview question. That's the reason I'm just saying this one. Okay. Okay. So you see, if you come down, you see here, client session keep alive, client session alive heartbeat frequency. Very, very important this one. Okay. Very, very important. So what it does is you are connecting to the particular database is fine, but that connection, how much time that connection to be available. Okay. And whether that connection is really working fine or not, that means heartbeat of that connection. Heartbeat is nothing but checking the health of the connection, whether this connection is still connected or having any issues in between, network problems are there. That will be running this 3600 seconds. That is like by 60:00, that 60 minutes. For every 60 minutes, so you will be checking whether my connection is being successfully still there or not. Okay, so these two parameters are very much needed for all the databases. It's not only Snowflake. I'm just showing it on a Snowflake. So Snowflake, you have a privilege of seeing like this, but in other databases, you will only DB admins will be seeing this. Okay, can we set Oracle DB as well? Yes, you Karthik, yes, you can do it. You can set it in a Oracle DB as well. So I'm saying that every database have this important information. Okay, so keep this in mind. Very, very important. How can you tweak this? Okay, this will help you to understand how much time you have to keep your connection alive. Okay, so now going back here. So what happened is Informatica has to talk to Oracle, open the connection and continue that connection. Okay, so think that this opening connection and continuing connection has taken a 3 seconds. Okay, now extraction part, extracting a data from an Oracle has taken a 1 minute. Okay, so your whole extraction and your connection has taken almost 1 minute 3 seconds. Okay, so now transform Informatica. So Informatica, what has done? Whatever data it has read from an Oracle, it has to store on its server, right? Server 2, storage. Okay, store data on the server. Okay, that means you need a storage on Informatica servers. Okay, then what will happen is after it's storing the data, it has to process the transformations. Okay, that means you got some business rules. There is a customer name is coming up. In this customer name, change everything to capital letters. Okay, and if the customer is having if he are paid 1,000 rupees to us, apply a discount of 10% to it and populate a different value. Like that, you got a business rules. Okay, so you will be writing a business rules. Data is stored and you are writing a business rule that is running on a server too. So this business rules all applying has taken a 2 minutes. Just take it as a 2 minutes. Okay, so next one is a Snowflake. Okay, then now what happened is you have to load the data. Snowflake, what it has to done, it has to open a connection. Okay, continue the connection. Okay, and then what it needs, it has to do a constraints checks. Okay, what are constraints? What are constraints?
It's a set of rules which we
Primary
define.
key, foreign key, this kind of.
Keys. It's a set of rules. What are the constraints we have? It is you have a primary key, foreign key, not null check, uniqueness. So these are all is your constraints, set of rules. Okay, so it has to do these constraints checks. Okay, think that this has taken almost 5 seconds for you. Okay, and data load. Okay, data load is happened for a 1 minute again. Okay, this totally taken 1 minute 5 seconds. For you, the total job to execute, what happened? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Okay, 8 seconds, 4 minutes, 8 seconds it has taken for you when you are doing a ETL logic. Okay, ETL logic when you are doing it.
ETL logic, ELT logic.
Sorry, what is that?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, let me quickly go here. This is ETL, not ELT. ETL, not ELT. Yeah, ETL only we are doing it, right? Karthik, I didn't get you. We are doing ETL only here. Extraction, transformation, and load is happening here. Okay. So now this transformations, it has taken almost 4.8 seconds now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm turning this into an ELT process. Okay. What is an ELT process here? So I'm going to use this ELT process. One is extract, okay, load, and then transform. Okay. So now what is happening here? If you see here, this is happening on a server 1. Okay. Your load is happening to your server 2, server 3. Okay. And your transform is also going to happen in a server 3. Okay. There is no server 2 concept for you. What you do is you extracted data as whatever the data is available, you just dumped it on a Snowflake data lake locations or stages, whatever you can call. Okay. Once you load the data there, what will happen is you are applying a transformation on that server itself. Okay. So when you call it as an ELT, the load and transforms both happens on a same server. Okay. Now, whatever the 2 minutes it has taken here, right? What it has done, why it has taken 2 minutes is it has dumped the data from a different location to Informatica server. And this server took 2 minutes to you to transform the data. Okay, because it's totally a different place. It has to store it and bring the data, apply all the logics and all. Okay, when the same server, if you see ELT process, okay, here what you see is load and transform both runs on the same server, right? So this transform, what will happen is when it is executing, the data is already there in the server. Okay, the data is already there in the server. So for this transform, accessing this data and applying a transformation rules is going to be in a very, very easy. Okay, because these two guys are on the same server. Here, if you see, this is on a different server, means the server has to be up running for you and resources should be available for you and the data should be, all the transformations needs to apply. There is a lot of logic to be applied here. Okay, when the data is already available on your server, on same server, your transformation easily can access this data because they both are in the same server. Okay, they both are in the same server. Here what happens is this extraction will still take your 1.3 seconds. Okay, your load also can take 1.5 seconds, but your transformation will drastically reduce to almost a 0.5 seconds, or you can say 1 minute. Okay, because these both are in the same server. So here you are going to process this data in 3.8 seconds. Okay, your data will process in 3.8 seconds. Okay, this is the difference between a ELT and ETL process. When we talk about the ETL process, the transformations runs on a different project, different server. Okay, as the three servers has to be executed here. Okay, here ELT process always happens is that load and transformation will be happening on the same server. Okay, so more than ETL, your ELT process will be faster. Okay, so if you can see some of your projects who are experienced people are there, right? So what you guys will be doing, instead of you applying all your aggregations and everything, you would be doing something like in a data info. People who are using an informatic also, right? Whatever the data they get, they will be loading the same data instead of applying a transformations on here. Okay, major high level transformations on here. What they do is they load the data here and they will be creating in a stored procedures or something to create an aggregated views. Okay, so with Snowflake, we will be doing an ELT process, not the ETL process, because we don't have any server too. We don't have any intermediate layer. Okay, once the data you can able to supply to the Snowflake able to perform this load. Once the load is completed, it can able to easily perform a transformations on top of it. How can we apply these transformations? We will learn these transformations. How can we apply by creating a functions or a stored process, something like that. Okay. Yeah, so DBT is a one more transformation logic, right? So this for this particular transformation, you can apply a DBT. Okay, but what happens is DBT can able to connect to only one adapter. Okay, that is either a Snowflake, either a Redshift, either it is a Spark or something, which will connect only to the one adapter. It will not connect to your two sources for you. Okay, in a Snowflake itself, you can connect Snowflake. You can write your all the transformation logics. Think that your Snowflake has loaded here into a raw table. Okay, and you want to apply some business rules on top of it. Okay, this is you're going to be your business table. Okay, so now you can write a DBT in between this one. So you can write your all transformations to load it into Snowflake to Snowflake. If you don't want to write any transformations directly on a Snowflake, DBT you can go it, because DBT makes your life easy by writing a less code, doing a more work. Okay, and good UI, and it will give you a lineage. It will provide a lot of the tasks also to can be created on top of it, and you can able to create the test cases directly on a DBT. Okay, nowhere I can deploy DBT. So nowhere I can deploy. Again, I need an intermediate server. So yeah, you need an intermediate server there. So no, DBT is not intermediate server. Okay, DBT utilizes the warehouse you are going to provide for a Snowflake. Okay, the speciality of the DBT here it is. So we will discuss that when it comes. Okay, so DBT, what will happen? It uses the leverages the power of the Snowflake only. Okay, so what this DBT does is the speciality of this DBT itself by itself, it doesn't have any servers. All it is like it is also software as a service. Here in this software as a service, what happens is this guy doesn't even have a warehouse to run it. No servers, nothing. While you are trying to do something on a DBT, you have to tell if you are using a Snowflake, if you are using a Redshift, you have to use this computes, which is providing by a Snowflake only. This guy will leverage everything from a Snowflake and run it. So there is no server. Again, DBT is going to be a server 3, server 3. Okay, that we will see. So there is no load server. It's a server. So what I could call it is it's in a website. Okay, so that server is different. There is no storage, no compute. All it does is it will help you to connect this ones. All the processing will be happening on a Snowflake warehouse. Okay, yeah. Okay, so any questions here? So any people understand what is ELT and ETL process?
Krishna, actually, so you say that ELT has more advantage, right? So in which case we'll go for then ETL? So is there any use cases for separate for ETL?
So ETL, right? So yeah, I would say your targets. What is your targets here? Targets is going to be, for me, it's a Snowflake. Okay. Now I'm saying Snowflake or a Databricks, whatever it is. Okay, I'm just taking as an example. If you have a features of applying a transformations in a better way, okay, a better way, if you have a chances of creating this ones on your cloud data warehouses, it's a better to go with an ELT process. Okay, no, my example, you take an Oracle. Okay, so an Oracle or a MySQL or something, you won't be having that great UIs to do, or also, you don't have any cloning concepts, you don't have any, time travel concepts, you don't have any data sharing concepts and all. So those concepts is not there in the on-premises. So for that reason, what they do is, instead of building in a solution, now PL SQL, right? So how many of you folks know PL SQL, right? It's just kind of like a stored procedures only with packages, right? So what happens, this PL SQLs companies will be building directly on a databases, directly databases, Oracle databases, or a MySQL or SQL Server, they'll be creating this PL SQLs. Okay. So what happens is, if you want to create a PL SQLs, how many folks, so you have to write all the logic, SQL logic, everything. Okay. So what you won't be getting a full-fledged example, I would say, if you want to perform a multiple tables joins and you have to do a duplicate checks, have to do many things. So this PL SQL, whatever you're going to write, you have to write a big procedure for it. Okay, so your particular target databases might not have that flexibility to write it. In that cases, and a more performant way, right? So then they will be going with this ETL tools like an Informatica or Ab initio or something. Okay, and these guys, why you need to go here? It is, if you are building in a PL SQL, now you have a requirement saying that check if there is a duplicate data coming up. You have to remove the duplicate data and choose only the maximum date out of it. This logic you have to write it. So you have to write a logic here. You have to write all your SQL over here. But this tools will be saying that I already have a component which does that logic for you. All you need to do is select the column, on which column you have to do it. Okay, to make time consumption, right? So here it is going to take 10 minutes for you to build it. But when you go here, they will be saying that this is already there. So all you need to do is choose. Okay, choose it. It is an UI which is going to be in a very helpful for you. Okay, and this guy says that we will give you a great UI, we will give you a great logging mechanisms, what is failing, we'll give you connectors with the multiple things. So what ETL tools is, if you are dealing with the different sources, now I'm talking about an Oracle and a Snowflake here, but if you start building something on your only by PHP or something, you cannot connect, right? You cannot connect that. Then you will be going with dealing with this all ETL tools. Okay, does that make sense? If you have a different source systems, if you have a different, you don't want to consume a lot of time rebuilding the logic. Okay, in that cases, you will be going with this. Okay, even one more example, I would say, right? So now I'm talking about, we will build a Python logic over here. Okay, connecting to MongoDB and to Snowflake, I will write a Python logic. In this Python logic, what I'm saying is, so we will talk to MongoDB. Okay, we'll start loading the data into an AWS buckets. From AWS buckets, automatically Snowflake identifies there are files and it loads the data into our tables. Okay, so to this Python, we need to educate what is an AWS token, what is an AWS username and password, where exactly it has to load the data. So those and all I have to write my own. So when you go to an Ab initio or something, right? So what you need to do is, this guy is already built the logic. All you need to give is details about your AWS account and all. Okay, this guy will internally initiate that logic and make you the work, whatever we are trying to write a logic. So if you want to go with the time consumption, reducing your time consumption, developers time, you will be, asking these guys to get the license. Does that make sense?
So which tools available more in the market right now? And that Informatica.
So usually what happens is, nowadays, Informatica is there from a very long time. Okay, now Informatica Power Center is gone and IICS is came in. Ab initio is there. Ab initio can do anything. Okay, multi-file systems. There are many features with an Ab initio, which is, this is a damn costly. Okay, people don't. No, I worked for 5 to 6 years on this Ab initio. This is an excellent tool, and these guys will be keeping updated. The tool is like anything. You can go #1 ETL tool in the market. Okay, all the banking financials will be using this Ab initio, but it is high costly. Okay, companies can't bear this cost. Okay, and Fivetran is there, which is a third-party tool. Metallic is there. This is also a third-party tool. Havo is there. This is a third-party tool. These tools, when we will use it, is something when we want to get the history data, right? Always when the migration starts, how we deal with, we need to deal with history data, what is existing and what is going to come up, which is called as an incremental data. Okay, when we want to move all the history data as in a one-off means one time we want to move all the history data, then we will be moving all our data to a incremental data to our target, which is called a Snowflake. Okay, in that cases, we will be using this Fivetran for some time. We will take a license for at least 2-3 months. We'll move all the history data here. And then what we'll do is we will route whatever the sources which are loading a data. We will start building that logics directly on a Snowflake. Okay, data stage was a shining star before. Now it's nothing. It is cheap and do it. But now this is IBM released product. So what this will have is this doesn't have that cope up of a cloud, and lot of compatibility problems is there till last year. Now I'm really not sure. Okay, we had in one of the project, we have seen this compatibility issues or many compatibility issues with the data stage. Okay, so in the market, you would say these are all there, that they have own prominence. So some companies are already taken their license in the data stage for next 10 years, they're still using it. Okay, so if you ask me what companies will be doing is Ab Initio and Informatica is like still there. The companies which are still using, they are using it. So the companies would have been moved from a power center to IACS. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Direct loading for Mongo loading or even Compass through direct. What is this? Can't we use Atlas? Atlas is also a tool, right? So there are multiple tools, Karthik, like that. Okay, I would say there are 10-50 tools will be there. Okay, everyone will provide that information. Okay, through direct loading, you can direct load it. So while you directly loading the data, you have to take care, right? You have to do the CDC. It's not like every time you're directly loading the data. You have to perform the data CDCs and all, you have to do it. So how you are going to do CDCs? Now, example, people, CDC is a change data capture, right? So how you are going to capture the changing data? So now all the people were depending on this particular tools to capture the changing data. It could be SCD type 1, type 2, type 3, whatever it could be, right? So they will be depending on these ETL tools. Now in Snowflake, you don't need to work on this ETL tools. Snowflake itself has a feature to do this CDC tasks. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, right? Snowflake got the ETL, whatever the components have been built here, that features and all is being implemented in Snowflake. Okay, so you don't need to go outside to do it. Only one thing lacking here, it is Snowflake cannot able to connect to any on-premises databases. Okay, it always connects to the cloud buckets. From a cloud buckets, you can get your information. That's the only integrator. Once you have a data available, and you put it on a Snowflake, and from a Snowflake, you can start building whatever the technical things you want to do it. If you want to do it a real-time data load, or if you want to do it a batch processing, or if you want to do a change data captures, everything you can do. Okay, that we will learn. I'll take this question. Is it common practice to use any ETL tools to perform a transformations in Snowflake, or we use stored process functions as well? Let's say we have a raw data in a Snowflake and our goal is to build a facts and dimension in real time. How do we perform this kinds of activity? So in this, right, Ravi, I will be saying, if you ask me, okay, you have only Snowflake in hand, and if you are doing it, I will say we have to go with a Snowflake. Okay. As a company, I would have already bought any of these ones, or is there any licenses already available? Then they will be building this one. Okay. To your question, the straight answer is the practice is to create a stored process and functions to process your data. Okay. So some companies are still using an Informatica and Ab Initio because they are tightly coupled with this one. Their logics, legacy logics. Okay, Snowflake came in from the last so 1 decade, right? So almost getting a decade. So they are building here. What happens if there are logics already applied? There is already some jobs which are running, legacy jobs which are running. Those they cannot move everything to Snowflake at a one-off. Slowly they are moving it. How they are moving to Snowflake now? Some companies are moving, creating a stored procedures and functions directly on a Snowflake. Some companies, what they're doing is whatever the logic they have written here, right? ETL logic they have written, they are moving this logic into DBT now. They're writing all the transformations, they're writing all the CDCs, snapshot dates and everything. They're converting this logic into DBT and making the DBT to work on top of your Snowflake. Okay. Did I answer your question, Ravi? Yes, thanks. Okay, good. Okay, so
there is no
word.
There is no UI transformation that in Snowflake.
There is no UI. Sorry, you are breaking in between. There is
UI transformation in Snowflake. If you want to transform something, you have to write procedure in Snowflake.
It's a good practice to tackle what kind of situations. It's based on the requirements again. What kind of requirements you can think of? Okay, so example, I would say you have some logic, explicit logic, which you have to run it every day. Okay, so example, I would say you are getting a raw data. Out of that raw data, you have to calculate some analytics and load it into some table. Then go with the stored procedures. There is a common logic you have to write, and you have to use it across the different storage somewhere. Write a functions. No, there is a data coming up. Okay, there is a data coming up into the cloud. Every 5 seconds, there is a data coming up, and I want the data to be available in my Snowflake for a reporting purpose. Then go with a Snowpipe. Okay, if you have something called as a CDC to be maintained, you can go with the streams. Okay, so you want to share the data with someone, go with the data sharing. So cloning. So there are multiple features like that. So based on your requirement, you can choose what feature you can able to implement. Okay. So as part of this course, we are going to cover DB2, right? Yes, Ravi, we are going to cover the DB2 also. Okay. So we will make the DB2 work on a Snowflake, and we will start creating the models and the generate test cases. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So I will stop here. I have a little hard time to talk now. Okay. So Snowsite UI, right? So we call it as a Snowsite UI. So if you go here, so this is called as Snowsite UI. Before to this, there is a classic console was there. Now the classic console is gone. Okay, there is no more classic console now. Okay, so this you guys now start creating these accounts for you guys. If you guys face any issue, just do let me know. Okay, what I'll do is I will walk through this UI tomorrow. Okay, and tomorrow what we'll do is I will explain this marketplace. Okay, so this marketplace is very, very important. So I won't say when you go into project, you use it, you don't use it when you go into project, but as a practicing purpose, and there is a future, this future is going to be provided across the world. The people will be contributing their data for us. You can buy it for a free, and you can pay money, and you can become a consumer, and you can become a provider. Okay. And your data also, you can list it and you can get a money over here. Okay. So I'll discuss more about it tomorrow, marketplace. Okay. And then from this marketplace, we will use one of the client called UK NHS, National Health Schemes, right? So how many people know NHS is one of the famous medical, in UK, government sector UK. So NHS is providing some data. Okay. On that data, we'll utilize the data and we'll start creating a facts and dimensions using that. Okay. Using that facts and dimensions, we will be doing all our tasks. Okay. And when it comes to a real-time databases, we will deal with the different tables having a real-time data, and we will start loading that. Okay. So I'll take up a questions. Okay. Thank you. Krishna, I use ODI. It is by default an ETL tool. What is ODI? Who first introduced ETL logic? What if I integrate ODI with Snowflake? Can you explain this? Can you elaborate this Oracle? This is Oracle data integrator, you mean? Acha, okay. Oh, very good. Yeah. Yeah, you can Oracle data integrator. I think it's been my start of my career. I have seen this one. Okay. Till now, I don't have any idea that how it is being evolved right now. Okay. Even CDC was made available on ODI. So which is good, ODI or OSC? Oracle, what is this OSC? So these guys are not cloud, right? Instead of OCI, if you are talking about OCI now, Oracle Cloud Integrators, okay, Oracle Analytical Cloud. Okay. So right, their presence is very less, right? Their presence is very less, and they haven't proved 2%, I believe, 2% or 1%, I believe. So I think I have that blog. We have quickly see their presence is very less, Karthik. Okay. So we can't rely on them as a business, right? I can't rely on them saying that they will provide me a very good infrastructure or the this all stuff. So you see here, Oracle is a 2%. Okay. You cannot believe it. So CDC is everywhere, CDC only. Okay. So ODI, what happens is it automatically identifies. Even Snowflake will do automatically identify. You don't need to write any logic over there. Snowflake, what it does is based on the data it is arriving, okay, and the data you are having already in your table, right? It automatically identifies which record is a new record, which record is an updated record. You just need to leverage that information and create your CDCs. Okay, that we can do it. ODI also has been done. Yeah. Oracle, to your question, right? To your question, this ODI is the first ETL tool. I would say yes, because Oracle was a superstar when we were in our childhoods of our entrance to this IT sectors, right? So Oracle was the best. Okay. Now also when you go to the ODS, operational data systems, right? Still Oracle, 80% of folks are still using an Oracle. Okay. So I would say that's there. But now if you go into on-premise, we are moving out of on-premises. If you are going for an Oracle cloud, that's in a cloud integrated, right? Oracle OCI is there. So if you want to go there, that is there. But how much they are providing infrastructure? Okay, how good it is, how good they are into the market and proven to the customers. 2% is not something really I can go as a company taking risk with that. Okay, only for CDC I never go this to guys. Okay. Okay, time travel is there. Okay, time travel is not there in ODI also. So Oracle doesn't harden a time travel. ODI, OBI. Okay, this one, right? OAC. So yeah, this is an old combination I would call. Okay, this is what. So you can do. They also came up with the same logics, but how much infrastructure they will provide. So they go and search about ODI, which are all the countries they are serving the services. Okay, now this Oracle ODI is getting some boom in the UAE countries. Okay, so apart from that, Europe, US and all, no one bothers about this Oracle guys. Now Oracle is trying to do whatever the infrastructure they have provided to the companies as a name, normal on-premises, they itself moving into the cloud. Okay, apart from that, they are not doing more than that.
Krishna, so we just have to register on snowflake.com, like, or
yeah, you have to go. Let me complete this. You can use Snowflake for data transfer. What does DBT do? DBT will do a data transfer. Actually, DBT came in just 2-3 years back. So I would say 5 years, majorly 5 years they are into market. Okay. Before that, we used to apply everything on a Snowflake. So while you're writing anything on a Snowflake, what happens is you have to write the whole logic every time. So what DBT guy does is you can reutilize the existing logic and you can able to, make less code work more. Okay, on a Snowflake you have to write all the logic every time. Okay, the DBT says that if you have written that logic somewhere, directly use it at some place. Okay, we're using some small commands. Okay, so more of like if you are writing a 100 lines code over here, on DBT you will be writing only a 10 lines or 15 lines code. Okay, and with the DBT there are external functionalities. Okay, in Snowflake you will be getting a tasks as a scheduler or orchestration. In DBT also there are jobs. Okay, transformations also you can apply a jobs and you can run it. And this DBT provide a DAG. Okay, it's a direct acyclic graph, which is like a lineage. You can able to understand a lineage. This DBT, what happened is on a Snowflake, whenever we write something, right, data quality we need to do. The data quality, we used to write our own logics. We have to write a SQL to check whether the data is there or not. This guy, what has done is this guy has built that logic already. In this case, it is already existing. No, you just use it. Okay, or else you write it whatever the logic you need. Okay, here also whatever we do streams CDCs we will be running, right? The same CDCs, this guy call it as a snapshots. Okay, this guy also says that I'll create a snapshots for you, same logic, but same logic is there, so you can apply a DBT. Okay, so here what happens is when you choose a DBT, right, here only the cost is a software license cost, there is nothing. So if you say that you have used a tool, okay, example I would say you have used you have bought something, okay, but you can use that tool whatever you bought when you connected only with a Snowflake. You need to pay only for that component. Okay, all servers, all execution cost, all the billing, okay, everything will be paying to the Snowflake only. Okay, so everything will go into your Snowflake only. DBT is just on top layer where you can able to nicely write in the models. It looks like a nice structure. Okay, nice structure, reusable components are there. Many reusable components are there. Okay, so when we go into DBT, right, we will understand this more and more. Okay, so you have a transformation logics, existing some test cases are there, or else you can have a list of the tables where you can create a models. You can reference models between models, and nicely it will show a graph. And also, right, usually when we write something, when you create some project, okay, there is a table A joined with table B joined with table C joined with something else. Okay, so when you are trying to explain that to someone, right, you have to write a document. Snowflake will not help you to write any document for you. Okay, DBT, right, based on the tables you are utilizing, this guy will create a documentation. All you need to do is download and send the documentation to someone else. They will understand what are the tables you have used. Okay, they don't need to go into logic. It will nicely write a logic, it nicely creates a document for you, and the document can be shared. Okay, so there are many features like that. Okay, sorry, someone was asking some question. I'll take this question card. Someone was asking something. Okay, if no questions, I'll take this. Krishna, down the line.
Krishna, I was asking, like, do we have to register on that Snowflake?
Yeah, you have to register on Snowflake. So go to Snowflake. trial account, right? So trial account. Okay, yesterday I walked through, right? So go to the Snowflake trial account and you start registering for it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So do it today or tomorrow morning is also fine. I would say hang on for tomorrow also. Okay, tomorrow anyway, I'll explain a marketplace. After that, you explore that. Okay, so don't waste time. Anyway, it is only 30 days you will be getting.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll just Krishna down the line, please explain more on Snowflake tables. So yeah, we will be discussing about a Snowflake tables, Karthik. So you see outside, right? Any other training centers, I'm not sure whether they are teaching all the tables. We consider to do in a dynamic tables also. You can see KSR Data Vision YouTube videos. We have done a dynamic tables also, how it will be used. And we have created a blogs also for that. Okay, we will learn about the dynamic tables, how it works also, which is released just 2 months back. And we will talk about iceberg tables also, which I cannot show practically, which is not yet been implemented on a Snowflake. Okay, but the concepts they are going to come up. Okay, the concept they are going to come up. So this also we will be talking about how the iceberg table works. Okay, I need them more for my requirement as I'm concerned about backend process, more like a DB on a Snowflake. So sure, yeah, we will discuss this. You bring up the questions anytime. We will be deciding. If I'm not able to answer at that moment, I'll definitely come up with an required information for the next class. Okay, no, that is not what I mean here. I need to be a DBA here. That's fine. Yeah, so I'm saying, right, if you know what is DBA does, you come up with that questions, probably I'll help you out with. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so if no questions, guys, I think we can drop off for today and we'll catch up tomorrow. Okay, and please come up with questions and go through these notes and start exploring things. Come up with the questions, we'll discuss that. Okay, so with that note, I think have the rest of the day good and we'll catch up tomorrow morning.